Tag, the twin anime gamer, you're it. It's your girl AI, Amira Izell, back again with another Wistoria wand and sword breakdown. And nah, Season 2 did not waste a single second, throwing Will Serfort straight back into depression, trauma, pain, suffering, emotional damage, and demon timing. After everything this man accomplished in Season 1, surviving the all-student praxis, proving he's not just some weak nobody, and earning at least a little respect from the Academy, Rigarden still finds a way to remind Will that being born without magic in this world is basically like trying to play Call of Duty with no weapons, no armor, and dial-up internet. Professor Edward especially continues acting like the CEO of hating. This man wakes up every morning asking himself, how can I ruin Will Serfort's life today? Will literally aced almost every graduation exam, but Edward hits him with the most set-up question imaginable. What is the meaning of magic? Bro knew exactly what he was doing. That question was less of a test and more like somebody locking the door and throwing away the key. Watching Will completely break down after failing was honestly heartbreaking. You could see all the pressure finally crushing him. The thought of never reaching Elfie, never climbing the tower, never being acknowledged despite all the blood, sweat, and near-death experiences finally hits him at once. Even Werkner looked disturbed because deep down, everybody knows Edward intentionally sabotaged him. But while Will is mentally collapsing, the real sneaky danger might actually be standing right beside him, smiling cute. Colette is throwing up massive red flags already. Yeah, she's adorable, supportive, and all that, but something feels off. There's this dark obsession growing inside her whenever Elfaria's name comes up. She genuinely believes Elfie doesn't deserve Will after all the sacrifices he's making. And honestly, Rosty agreeing with her only makes the situation even more dangerous. These two are starting to look less like love interests and more like future members of the "We'd destroy the world for Will" support group. The moment Colette almost kissed sleeping Will before Rosty interrupted her had me dying because Rosty basically spawned in like, absolutely not. Save that nonsense for another episode. The jealousy battle between those two is getting serious. Then Wistoria shifts from emotional damage to straight-up horror movie territory once Terminalia begins. The fake sky lights up with fireworks, everybody's celebrating Barrier Day, and suddenly the villains pop out like they've been waiting backstage this whole time. Assassin and Headless return looking like absolute demons, unleashing halo-headed nightmare monsters into the capital. And episode 2? Nah, that episode was pure violence. Wistoria said, y'all thought this was just a magic school anime? Because suddenly people are getting sliced up left and right. The Mage Slayer swords changed everything. These weapons are basically anti-magic cheat codes. Mages can't even defend themselves properly because the swords absorb and nullify magic entirely. Cauldron reveals these things were likely mass-produced specifically for Terminalia when the Devander are weakest after renewing the barrier. That's some evil mastermind planning right there. Meanwhile, Will starts moving like the final boss against the armed monsters. Everybody else is struggling while this man is out there dropping monsters with giant sword swings like he's auditioning for Berserk. Headless and Marze were genuinely shocked seeing Will carve through enemies immune to magic. But of course, things immediately get worse because anime rules state peace can only last 7 minutes maximum. Then they summon the Devander, a monster from Floor 40 that makes the Grand Duke look like a tutorial boss. This thing was terrifying. Stronger, faster, more brutal, and to make matters worse, it can absorb dead monsters to evolve even further. The dwarves finally joining the fight was one of the coldest moments in the series, though. Seeing mages and dwarves teaming up together after Master Aaron lifted the combat restrictions was fire because now physical fighters finally had a chance to shine against the Mage Slayers. But even with everyone helping, the Devander was still folding people like laundry. And then came Rosty's sacrifice. That moment was rough. Just as Will's about to get impaled, Rosty jumps in front of him and takes the hit instead. The scene completely shattered Will mentally. You could literally see the rage start boiling inside him. Anime fans immediately knew what time it was, too. Anytime the main character loses someone important, the Hidden Power-Up DLC activates. Episode 3, One Single Magic Spell, finally gives us Will's awakening, But getting there was honestly frustrating because the pacing was all over the place. The episode spends forever jumping between every single character imaginable. 1 second, Julius is fighting monsters. Next, Sion and Colette are fighting monsters. Then Rose is sad while fighting monsters. Then Mike is evacuating civilians while fighting monsters. It started feeling like Wistoria was trying to remind viewers, hey, remember this character exists too? Every 30 seconds. Even the constant name graphics popping up started feeling funny after a while. Still, once the episode finally locked back onto Will and Werkner, things got serious again. Werkner getting blasted with a giant hole in his chest should have been emotional, but the visual was unintentionally hilarious because this man was standing there smiling like he wasn't missing half his torso. Somehow Wistoria really said, yeah, he'll probably walk it off. But then Finn finally appears, and the payoff arrives. Will unlocks his first real magic spell and transforms into what is basically Wistoria's Super Saiyan form. My guy suddenly got long flowing Sephiroth hair, overwhelming power, and main character energy turned all the way to maximum. The best part was Sion finally showing real growth too. The same arrogant dude from Season 1 was actually ready to sacrifice himself to protect others, especially in front of Colette. That moment showed how much these characters have evolved since the beginning. Overall, Wistoria Season 2 is already darker, bloodier, and way more emotional than Season 1. Will's suffering keeps getting worse, the villains are terrifying, Colette's obsession is becoming suspicious, and the capital is basically one bad day away from complete destruction. But now that Will finally unlocked his hidden power, next episode looks like it's about to be absolute chaos.
Thank you for watching Tag, the Twin Anime Gamer channel. We got more video game videos, more anime videos, and activity challenges to come. Please subscribe and add a like to the video.